Hey everybody, I hope everyone's having a fantastic afternoon out there. I have a really cool set today to share with everybody that I like. And it's a 7-piece set in curly maple, which we haven't seen one of those in a while. And I really like curly maple. It's just very classic and tasteful. It's kind of like when I first started making tools, the only option that I had for handles was ash, and it was because it was just a simple, very classical type of material to use for a chisel handle. And a lot of people wanted maple, and then a lot of people particularly wanted curly maple. And so once I started working with the curly maple for handles and stabilizing, I found out how much better maple in general stabilizes than any other material. And that kind of became the base model at that point, was the curly maple, for that reason, because the whole idea was I want the best durability I can get. Obviously, the base model of something is going to be the lowest priced option in terms of handle material, and so naturally that had to be a domestic wood. And there aren't very many domestic species that are super interesting, I guess. So curly maple is just one of them, and it tends to be relatively abundant, and it's a very good handle material. And the fun thing about it, very interesting as a matter of fact, I have found that there is a really interesting balance, because curly maple, like whether it's hard maple or soft maple, as long as you stabilize it, it doesn't really matter. Like, you pick up a piece of soft maple, you can tell it's soft maple. It's significantly lighter. But once it's stabilized, I've found that they end up either the same weight, or the soft maple, I think because of the finer, more spaced out grain, it will hold more resin and actually be heavier a lot of times. So I have tinkered with this quite a bit and tried to determine what is actually the most durable option, because I'd want to go with whatever would be, the most durable combined with the best cost for the customer, but most durable comes first. I don't like to sacrifice quality for price. That's not something that I do, but that's why my tools aren't cheap. What I did find is, price wise, they end up about the same, even though hard maple is way more expensive. Curly hard maple is harder to get and it's way more expensive. But being that the soft maple holds so much more stabilizing resin, and stabilizing resin is over $100 a gallon, they end up about the same price, or possibly even more, to do soft maple. So it's kind of all the same, pretty much, when it comes to maple species. And I've tried silver maple, western maple. I've tried all the maples. I've tried maple, curly maple off the tree behind this building, and it's beautiful wood. And it's a soft maple species, but I can cut, a limb of that off of there every few years and get some really, really unique specimens of wood, because that tree has spalting, it's got a typical curl, it has some crazy figure, and all in one. And so what I did find, though, is that I wasn't saving any money by doing that, because the amount of time and labor that it takes to process and dry soft maple without it cracking, almost not worth it. That's one of those things I would rather pay somebody else to do it. And we're going to have a story about that here shortly, because something funny. Just might as well share it. Anyway, let's take a look at this set that's going out. And it is a 7-piece in curly maple. Very pretty set. And it's some good classical sizes. We have a 1-inch, 3/4, 5/8, which for many of you, those who know me, I'm not really a woodworker, not really. 5/8 is my favorite go-to size. I don't know why. Like most professional woodworkers and like dudes that are orders of magnitude better than I am at woodworking, they like 1 inch. I don't know why that is, but most really good woodworkers, a 1 inch is their go-to. Me being like not a really good woodworker, actually kind of a shitty woodworker, 5/8 works for me most times, and it's easy to, you know, beat through some hard wood on crap in the house, which is usually what I'm doing. I have a couple beaters that I kind of just demolish the crap out of them. But anyway, we have the 5/8, half. This one's a 3/8, a quarter, and then a 1/16. We don't see a lot of 1/16 blades because people don't order a lot of 1/16 blades. Totally doable. Not only is it doable, it's doable at 63 Rockwell with no warpage, which kind of sounds friggin' insane, but it's true. There is no warpage. I mean, none. And I have really high standards for warpage, so when I say none, I mean absolutely none. That blade is straight as a friggin' arrow. But it should be. These are not cheap tools. I should not ever, in any possible permutation of reality, ever charge what I do for tools and sell a piece of crap. So I have a very high standard for this. And this thing is extremely sharp. You can see the tiny little edge honed on the, it is razor sharp. And I like making 16th inch tools. They're always a challenge. And I mean, some of the curl in this material is just beautiful. It's the way that the camera is set up, the curl shows best looking at it this way or that way. So like, they have some really cool curl in them. My camera position is stupid, but this is where I normally put my camera. Really good finish. And the finish that I chose to go with on this particular set is something, it's an oil that I have, honestly, I've been testing it still for a couple years. You'd think I'd make my mind up in a couple years, but it's that good to where I'm still tinkering with it on everything I can think of. And I don't think I've shown it in the video before, but it's this. This is made by one of my customers. He formulated his own brand, and he had me just, you know, be one of the first testers of it. And he sent me in a little jar, this little sample jar of it. And I used it, and I liked it. And I told him, you know, I tested it on as many materials as I can. Here's my honest feedback, whatever. And I really liked it. It dries faster than what I'm used to. So if you're like what I do with my handles, these in particular won't absorb much because they're stabilized. Some will. Other woods don't stabilize as well. So like if I go and put oil on walnut, and this is where I ran into this, I would put a heavy coating of oil on it, and then I'll walk away. And I'll let it absorb until the solvents are all absorbed, the thinner oils are all absorbed, and it starts to get thick on the surface. And then I'll go and I'll add more, and I'll keep doing that until it kind of stops taking oil. And that's because I've been doing the same thing so many thousands of times with my own blend of oil that I was used to how long it took between when I would apply it and when I would come back to reapply it or remove it. And his stuff penetrates so much more rapidly that, like, if you turn your back on it, it'll be dry. Like, you'll have varnish on the outside. And I did that to a couple of handles, but it's a matter of learning a different product. And it's been a great product. It actually has been a great product. And I can say that it penetrates drastically better than most. Drastically better than, I think, any penetrating oil formulation I've ever used for wood. And that's what it's for. So I would say definitely it's this Glancy's number 1. And this is made by one of my customers, actually. And he was kind enough to send me this bottle, which I still have about half of this particular bottle. So thank you very much. I appreciate this, and it's been a lot of fun, and I will definitely, excuse me, repurchase this because I'm going to use this on some furniture, some walnut furniture I have in the house, and it's going to take a lot of it. So I'm going to do that in the house too and try it out on some furniture and see how that goes. My daughter has a couple older pieces of furniture in her room that are beautiful that I just want to refinish. So that'll be, you know, a thing that happens sometime in the near future. But anyway, back to the chisels. I like these. I think they're super cool. They have the end caps. This is getting ready to go out today. If you want a set actually just like this, this is one of the listings that I have up on my Etsy page. You could go to my Etsy page, which is Kimmons Hand Tools, and purchase this. And as always, I'm caught up to about a 90-day lead time now. I've been playing catch up for quite a long time, trying to get caught up on everything since the whole divorce thing, but I'm finally I'm hitting it. I'm working 7 days a week, very long days, and I have been for quite some time, getting caught up with everything. So that has been pretty much all I'm doing, is working and getting caught up on some stuff. And I really appreciate everyone's patience, because this year has been a giant pain in the butt. And I know we all have those years, you know, so mine is no different than anybody else's, you know, nightmare year that we have every now and then. So hopefully 2025 is going to be really awesome compared to 2024, because 2024 was like getting kicked in the balls over and over and over and over on a weekly basis for like the whole year. So I'm glad that's behind me. Anyway, I wanted to share this too, because this is an option since I do custom tools and custom tool making. I have a customer of mine, a repeat customer that's been one of my customers for like 4 years probably, and he bought one of the screwdrivers that I make, because I make screwdrivers specifically to fit the plain screws, and he wanted a custom size screwdriver, which custom tool maker, I can do that for you if you want some kind of a custom size screwdriver. But he gave me the specs on it, and I made this to his specification, and the handle is going to get made and it's going to go in the handle. And his specification on this particular screwdriver was he wanted the shaft to be 320 thousandths wide and the head to be 55 thousandths wide up here, the blade of the screwdriver to be 55 thousandths. So we have exactly 55 thousandths and exactly 320 thousandths in reference to a calibrated Starrett micrometer. So it literally triple good. He also wanted the shaft length to be 3.5 inches. So we got that. And it's going to go in a really cool handle. I'll have it in a video that I'm going to do, because I'm going to do another video maybe tomorrow with something really freaking crazy in it. Because sometimes I just like to do a video and talk a little bit about what I'm doing. It helps people get to see all the products and see what they would want or might want. And if you want any of the stuff that you ever see in these videos, Andrew at KimmonsHandTools.com, I can make it happen for you. And I promise you, they will be the best and most aesthetically pleasing tools on the face of the planet ever made. And, you know, we do live in a society where everything's been made like crap for a very long time. And I also had the same mindset that to get something good, you have to find something 100 years old. And you know, I did that for a long time, and then I realized, like, there's no reason for this. Modern metallurgy is absolutely orders of magnitude better than it ever has been. There is no reason why a chisel made 100 years ago should outperform a tool made to... There's absolutely no valid reason for that other than just cheapness. And that's what it is. It's cheapness. And yeah, I wanted to change that. because there's no excuse for it. And the fact that that's so prevalent in today's world when metallurgy is leaps and bounds ahead of what it even was 15 years ago, it's disgusting. It's actually disgusting that it's like, technology gets better and better, material science gets better and better, and everything gets worse and worse. Because, you have a select few people sitting at the top that are pulling the strings, cheapening everything. And it's like, no, we can save a nickel per 1,000 units if we cut this corner. It's like, well, you know what? You're not the type of person that should be doing this then. So bean counters that don't know how to actually do anything. That doesn't help the world much. Anyway, speaking of people that don't know how to do anything, funny story. My my washing machine sounded like it was going to like grind itself apart. And this was like a few months ago. And Maytag's got that big sticker on there. It was like 10-year warranty. I was like, man, this thing's only like 4 years old. So I called Maytag, and they told me that they're going to send somebody to see because they can only warranty these select parts or whatever. And I was like, okay. And the guy came over, because I always fix my own stuff. But like, if something's going to be covered under warranty, I'm not going to pay for the part and do the job if somebody else is going to pay for the part and do the job under a warranty. So that's just common sense. Dude came over, he said, no, it's not any of the parts that are under warranty, it's this thing. And what it is, it's like a ring on the underside of the gear case that, because you know how washing machines go this way, and then they go that way, and then they go this way, and then they go that way. Well, this thing just works like an electronic solenoid. It's magnetic, and it engages to one set of gears, and then engages to another set of gears, and engages to one set of gears, and then engages to another set of gears. And that just transfers the power up the gear case, which has a planetary gear set in it that makes it go back and forth and agitate. And I mean, it's a washing machine is a very simple piece of equipment. But he said, no, it's this thing. And I'm sitting here like, if that thing wasn't engaging, it wouldn't sound like it does. I mean, I kind of know that. Like, it doesn't sound like plastic teeth grinding on plastic teeth. It wasn't that kind of sound. And so I just told him, he goes, hey, the part's going to be $160, parts and labor. I was like, whatever, just do it. Just make it stop. And he did it, and I paid him $100, $160, ran the washing machine, did the same damn thing. And I just, you know what? Whatever. I was quite upset. And pinpointed the part that was the problem. And it was inside of the gear case, the transmission. And this wasn't all that hard to figure out. And the part was like $300, and you have to tear the entire washing machine apart. And so I'm not doing that. So that would cost, $500 or $600 to replace that. So I got on eBay. I was like, I'll find a used one, right? Did, sure enough, found a used gearbox for it. Like, sweet. $75. It was here in like a week and a half, shipped from Las Vegas. I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. Tore the washing machine apart, which is kind of a funny story because the agitator on those gets stuck super bad. And for any of you who've tried to take that like flat agitator off of one of those, what I ended up doing to get that off was like one of the stupidest things I've ever done. Like, I was trying pry bars, I was trying all this crap, couldn't get it off. So I came out here and I have a lockout kit. It's the Blue Point one, which Snap-on sells. A lockout kit for getting into cars that are locked. And I don't steal cars. I just am prepared for problems. So anyway, I got an air wedge out of that, and covered this sucker in dish soap, slid it up underneath the agitator, and pumped it. And it kind of was like going one direction, so I said, screw it. I got two more, covered them in dish soap, and rammed them under there, and just pumped them up evenly. And there was so much pressure on this thing. I was like, I don't know, is this thing gonna break? Is it gonna blow? What the hell's gonna happen? And all of a sudden that thing let loose, and the agitator just shot out of the washing machine like a freaking cannon. It was like, boom! And I moved my head just in time, and the thing shot up past my face. I was like, whoa, that worked. So anyway, if you ever need to get those off, get some of these things and get your head out of the way, because it will come off, and it comes off like a freaking cannon. Anyway, got the thing off, tore everything apart, replaced it, put the used gearbox in there, started it, bearing grind, not like a gear grind, like a bearing grind this time. I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. I emailed the people, I was like, do you have another one of these sitting around? Like, this thing's got such a bad bearing grind that, like, it's obvious that there's a bearing that's bad in it. Yep, they sent me another one. I got the other one, which is this one. Took it out of the box, and I was like, you can hear that has a failed bearing in it. You can feel it. I'm not going to put that thing in. I know what it's going to sound like when that thing's got load on it and it's spinning. Doesn't take a genius to know that's going to be just as noisy, if not more noisy than the other one. So what I did, because these are sealed, I took the original one. They're sealed like with rivets, drilled out all the rivets, pried the sucker apart, and then there's a sealed gear case that's spun shut inside of it. I took that gear case off, put it on the lathe, I freaking turned it open. I figured I can weld this thing back shut if I have to, but it's just to figure out what's going on. And look in there, and I could actually tell what had gone wrong with it. It was that water has to penetrate like 3 different seals to get inside of that planetary gear case, and those gears have to actuate back and forth on the outer ring. And when they get mixed, the grease gets mixed with water, it turns into this hard clay-like crap, and those internal gears don't actuate. So it goes like, it'll engage one way, and then when it's supposed to skip and engage the other way, it doesn't. So anyway, the bearings in mine were good. So I have the bearings, and I'm going to take this one, which is not in the washing machine, and I'm going to drill out the rivets on this one, put the bearings from mine in this one, weld it back shut, put that sucker in my washing machine, and that should take all of about a half hour to do that, and then maybe 45 minutes to put it in the washing machine. And now I'm sitting here like, probably should have just spent $300 on a part, and yeah, not gone through this. Anyway, that is the kind of things I do. I know maybe I'm not the most practical human being, but I like to learn how things work and fix them, even if sometimes it becomes unproductive. So anyway, that is my lesson for today with agitator removal. This was a very random video, and I don't care. So I hope everyone likes the tools. If you're interested in beautiful woodworking tools, Andrew at KimmonsHandTools.com. If you need a oddly sized screwdriver, Andrew at KimmonsHandTools.com. Knives, hunting knives, kitchen knives, pocket knives, whatever, Andrew at KimmonsHandTools.com. And let me know what you're interested in, and we can talk about it. And normally I get back to everyone within a couple days. I have been running like a chicken with my head cut off, getting caught up on everything. So if you emailed me in the last couple days, I'm doing my emails tonight after I get done. I do have a video that I'm going to do eventually here sometime soon that's going to be interesting, because this was like 3 years ago, made some garden tools. I actually designed one that, like, I probably should patent it because it doesn't exist. And I'm not going to, because the patent process is ridiculously expensive, and nobody else is going to manufacture it to the quality that I can do at the price. So it doesn't really matter. But, you know, yeah, I was thinking about making some of those, because no heat treating goes into it. So that would be kind of a cheap thing to make and sell. And like, we have garden beds. It was particularly for people that like have garden beds and need to weed garden beds. It used to take me all weekend, you know, a few years ago, to weed the garden beds, because it's such a pain in the butt and so many weeds. And I made this tool. I just had an idea. I was like, if I do this, I can just pull a lot of weeds all at once, and theoretically it would come up by the root. And it worked. And I took videos of it, and I was like, holy crap, all the weeds were coming up by the root, like pulling the roots out like that far. And it cut my time of weeding the garden beds from a weekend down to about 3 hours. And so I was like, you know, this cut my work down to like a sixth of what it was. So I've been using that thing for years. And I've been thinking, you know, one of these days I'm going to produce this thing and sell it at a relatively good price, you know, because it's not very complicated. And it's something that I think a lot of people could save a lot of time with, honestly. Like, I was shocked because I don't know if anyone's ever had one of those kind of like eureka moments where they come up with this idea and it's like, but I don't know if it's going to work. And then you try it and it works and you're shocked that it works. That's how it was, where it's like, there's no freaking way this thing works like that. Like, I would say like 99% of the weeds came up with the entirety of the root. It's like, even in soil, it's mostly clay, which is really hard soil. But that's kind of how it works. It kind of requires a little bit of that. So anyway, before this video just goes in 27 more directions, I'm going to call it good. I hope everyone has a great day out there. Andrew at KimmonsHandTools.com. And if you're interested in any of this stuff, and very soon to be a few weird garden tools, yeah, let me know, because I just like making different things. It's fun. Anyway, have a great day. See you next time.